on. Welcome, Patty.
Breathe in, breathe out. Imagine or remember a cold, dark winter night with only a fire to heat you, along with the bodies of your family. Imagine, remember, a longing in your belly for enough food, rich, fatty, delicious food, the flavor of food you haven't tasted in months, food you may never taste again. Imagine, remember, from these prehistoric times, literally starving with the wolf at the door. The oldest one refusing their portion of meat and only supping the broths from the cooking basket. The old one, 30 winters old. Then the days lengthen and the warmth of the sun returns. New growth occurs. The green ones rise. Rabbits become visible in bounteous numbers. Birds return to lay their delicious eggs. Such perfect, life-giving gifts to the people. Smooth, beautiful ovoids of warm, easily consumed goodness. The flavors bloom on your tongue. The family knows the relief of having survived another winter. All except the old one. They have passed into the land of mystery. It is time to leave the dwelling and explore the woods and streams for mushrooms and fishes, for sparkles shimmering on the water and twinkling in the balmy night skies. It is time to forage for new growth in the green world, for sustenance, tonics, and medicines. It is time to encounter others of the clan. Imagine, remember, coming out of isolation to greet people, hear their stories of how they fared through the cold, dark winter, and to share your own. Imagine or remember moving forward in time through the fallow fields, the frozen earth becoming soft, crumbly loam, of squeezing a handful between your fingers. Yes, it is time to break the soil, plow the furrows, plant the seeds, fertilize the ground so it may be productive. Drive the cattle between the beltane fires on their way to the pastures of good green grass. Weave circles of protection into wreaths and garlands around the gathering place, halos of posies for all the maidens to wear in their hair. The maidens and the mothers too will gather the morning dew to wash themselves for beauty and youth and protection, for the pleasure of it. The young men will erect a pole, analogy intended, for the bright ribbons to cascade from, later to be woven around it tightly in the dance, as the dancers weave in and out, over and under, through and between one another. The wreath borne on the top of the pole will slowly slide down the ribbons, bringing it ever closer to the earth, bringing the bodies ever closer to each other, their breath and hands and merry eyes becoming mingled in the joy of successfully bringing in the May. This afternoon, those who have waited for the opportunity to wed will handfast. It will last for a year and a day. They'll declare themselves to the gathering as partners, lovers, and support for each other's well-being. Others will begin the courtship of love and passion, slipping away to lie together in the fields to bring fertility to the earth. They will rise and enjoy the afterglow, knowing they have fulfilled the ancient rite. Blessings of harvest bounty to their land. All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. In the evening, as the longer day begins to fade, the community will gather to sing and dance around and over the fire. Fresh food gathered from the hillsides and forests and lakes will be served. And yet others will slip away with new partners to celebrate sex and lust and pleasure far away from their spouse's eyes and ears. The valley will ring with the sounds of merriment, of lust and satisfaction. Our modern May Day, there is still ancient blood in our veins. We reach out to each other in connection, to nature and wonder, to life and creativity, and procreativity. I mean, what is more hopeful than a new babe bouncing on your knee? What gives us more grace than strolling through the beautiful blooms of the flowering fruit trees, drifting their blossoms at our feet in the pink snow? The promise of life coaxing us back out after dinner to view the sunset and the moonrise. The ability to gather and share of our experiences, strengths, and talents again with one another. Our gratitude to be alive in this gorgeous day. To listen to bird songs, identifying them by memory, or on that bird ID app on our phones. Or to hear the patter of raindrops filling our soil and reservoirs with life-giving water. Dandelions spring up and fill the bees' bellies. The raging storm waves of winter soften on the shores, and the waves of tourists from the cruise ships return to our land, fertilizing our economy with their dollars, filling our streets with their feet, dispersing the perception that only the unhoused live in our streets. There's another modern May Day, the workers' gatherings for rights and dignity and safety. For 40-hour work weeks, the end of child labor, the slavery of the company store. Rebellion has often been associated with the crushing oppression by the ruling classes over the poor, those living paycheck to paycheck, the destitute who live hand to mouth on our streets, even today. Insurrection during festivals, such as the Green Man parades of May Day, have often been led by those who have disguised themselves in the finery of costumes, regalia, cross-dressed as disguise. They've sown the seeds of revolt. Those most impoverished must live in the day, wondering where they will sleep, when they might next eat, and if they can get their fix of whatever potion brings them a moment of peace from the dastardliness of the world. Workers can and do organize to better life for us all. Reducing the gap between the richest and the poorest benefits us all. Demanding equality for humans who have been oppressed, murdered in factories and mines and forests by unsafe and unending capitalistic practices. These demands must continue. We need safe haven from police, government, and posses of vigilantes. The safety is brought to us by those who have the strength, will, and determination to organize, report, and execute protests to stand up for the rights of everyone. For many of us, the simple acts of experiencing pleasure is our resistance to claim back our bodies from societal demands of how we should look, from the idea of being healthy, that only one type of being is desirable, to claim that our sexuality and gender must somehow conform to norms, that our birthplace puts us in second place as citizens. Our religion, our culture marries us to lower status. Our wealth of assets is more valuable than our wealth of spirit. Our simple pleasure is a radical act. All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. We change systems by changing our minds, our hearts, where we spend our dollars and our time and our talents, gifting what we have to give, receiving the abundance hoarded by others, and searching for justice, equality, and mercy. Thank you all for this opportunity to speak today. Happy May Day.
Blessed be, Patty. Thank you so